SCCM client installation. This video is the fifth part of the SCCM Home Lab series. If you have directly landed on this video, I strongly suggest you start with part 1 of this series. I have included playlist link in the description below. All the videos in this list are organized in numeric order. If you follow the order, you should have no problems creating a fully functional SCCM lab by the end of this whole series. If you are new to my channel, I am Bibi, a software engineer who loves to share the knowledge, and welcome to my channel. If you have not subscribed to my channel yet, please go ahead, subscribe and hit the bell icon so you could get notified for all of my future videos. Please watch this video till the end because you will find the link to next part of this video series at the end screen. In this video, I will have a quick look at SCCM system health. Then I will create I will actually set up some GPO policies that are required for SCCM. Those are some inbound exceptions, outbound exceptions, file and printer sharing services. Basically, I'll be opening up some of the ports on the firewall. Then once that's completed, then I am going to build a Windows 10 device. It would be a Windows 10 enterprise test device. I'm going to name that device as T as in a test, T Win 10-1. Then I'm going to join that machine to the domain that I created in the previous videos, and the name of that domain is bibi.local. And finally, I will install SCCM client through SCCM console. Let's move to the screen and get this started. Alright, I'm just gonna log in to SCCM server here first. And I'm going to check the system health. Log into the server, click on start, and launch SCCM configuration manager console. Click on monitoring, and then system status, select site status, and here you are going to see if there are any kind of errors. You're going to see in red, and if there is a warning, it's going to be yellow, and green means everything is a good working condition. So next thing I'm going to, this status is for the site status. The next one is the component status. Just click on component status. As you could see, all of them are green, and I intentionally did left one red, did not fix it, because this is where if you open this, you could actually look into the details of the log by right-clicking it and then click show messages. You could either click all or error or warnings depending on whatever the status is, or whatever this is the icon that it kind of represent the status of each component. So you could I am interested in error, so select show messages, select error. You could go back and select the time and date, whatever that you want to select. I'm just gonna go with 1 day. I know it's fairly new, so I know it's just gonna be right there. So if you look at this, you could just kind of hover over, and it will give you a good idea of a little description about the error or whatever the message is. So this one is basically complaining about the ports. There are 2 ports that are not open. They are blocked through the firewall. One is port 1433, and then the other one is 4022. These are required by the SQL server to be able to communicate with the SCCM. So I am going to move to the next step, and in that step we would open these ports and we will do more configuration. And the way we are going to do it is by creating a group policy, so that any new machines that can come into the domains too, the minute they join the domain, they would get that policy and it will open the ports for them. So for now, I'm just not going to use anything else on the SCCM. So I'm just going to create the group policy. You need to create them on the domain controller. So I will log into the server DC01. That's the domain controller. Log in. And once you are in, click on Start and click select Server Manager. On the Server Manager, just go to the Tools and select Group Policy Management. I'm just going to minimize Server Manager and maximize Group Policy Management. So here you want to go and select the domain that you are trying to create the GPOs. So in my case, I'm going to create those GPOs for the domain bibi.local. Select it and then click right click and select create a GPO in this domain. Here it's asking you to create a new GPO and the name of the GPO. I'm going to call this one SCCM Client Policy. You could name it anything that makes sense. Click OK. And then you could kind of maximize it. And you would see, click on the drop down and it will expand the hierarchy. Right click on SCCM Client Policy, click Edit, and then click on the Policies, Window Settings, and here go on to Security Settings. I'm going to look for firewall settings here. Windows settings. I should have taken the notes, I'm sorry. Windows firewall right here. And then advanced, and this is where we are going to set inbound rule. So right click it, new rule, select predefined, click here so that you could see the drop down menu, and you need to go into file and printer sharing. Click next, leave everything default, click next, allow the connection, click finish. So these are all the inbound rules for file and printer sharing. Now I'm going to do the same for outbound. Check it and right click, create new rule. Do the same, predefined, drop down, file and printer sharing. Click next, leave everything checked as the default, click next, allow the connection, and finish. So now we have inbound rules for file and printer sharing, and then outbound rules for that too. So next one that we need to set up is Windows Management Instrumentation, which is a inbound rule, and this would be same way. You're just gonna click on inbound rule, right click, new rule, predefined. If you just type WMI Windows, right here, Windows Management Instrumentation, WMI. Click next. Everything default. Click next. Allow connection. Finish. So next I'm going to do is I'm going to open port 1433 and 4022. So to do that, just select the domain, right click, create new policy, name it. I'm gonna call it SQL ports for SCCM. Click OK. You have it right here. Right click it, edit. Preferences, Windows settings, I'm sorry, policies, Windows settings, security settings, then go to firewall. Right click, new rule. Sorry, I had a very long day and I'm a little bit tired. Pick port. In the previous one we did predefined, but here you're gonna do port. Next. Select TCP, and the port would be, the first one would be 1433. Next. Allow connection. Next. Leave everything checked. Next. And call it TCP inbound 1433. Finish. Gonna do one more rule here. New port. Next. TCP, and this one is going to be 4022. Next. Allow connection. Next. Everything same. Leave everything default. Next. And here I'm gonna call it inbound TCP inbound 4022. Excuse me. Finish. All right, so we have this all set. Close it. You close this. I mean, you could kind of verify it if you just want to go back and look at them. You could look at them, that if the policies and everything is there, and that's how you could just take a look at it. I'm not gonna go into the further details on this one. So I'm gonna get out of domain controller now, and I will go into the SCCM server so that we could verify if the GPO policy is there or not. So first I'm gonna log in to that, log back into that SCCM 01. The error is still showing. I want to make sure that the policy is updated. So open the command prompt by typing cmd, right click and run as an admin. And I'm going to force the GPO policy on it. And the command line is gp update /force. So this would now force the domain controller to push all of those GPOs. And to verify if those policies have been pushed, what you could do is click on search windows and then type rsop.msc. It's going to take just a little bit of time for the snap-in to do its thing. Here you go. And once you are here, just select the administrative templates, extra registry settings, and here, if you sort the GPO name, you could see this is the one that I had created, SCCM client policy. All of those policies are over here, and I have also created I had created SQL ports for SCCM, so those policies are applied. Now just exit out. Now if you go back to the health, the component status, simply right click and refresh, reset the counts. So I'm just gonna do, I mean, you could do all, that would do all of them for that component, but I'm interested in only in error, so just select error and then do F5 to refresh, or actually you could just click right here, refresh. Refresh. It takes some time, it does take a little bit of time for it to get back to working condition. So reset count, error, refresh. Here you go, all green. So now all the ports are open, all the policies that are needed for the SCCM to be able to communicate with the SQL database and to be able to communicate with Active Directory successfully, and then also is ready and all the prerequisites are set up and configured so that it is open to communication with any kind of new clients that are going to join domain, and then based on that domain and criteria that is set up in the boundaries, SCCM will talk to Active Directory and pull those machines or all those new objects basically into its database. So right now, if we go and if you click on assets and compliance and then click on devices, you should see about, I mean, these are I was playing with another test device, don't worry about it. I am actually going to delete this one so that it doesn't cause any kind of confusions. So based on the previous video, I had only a DC01 and SCCM01 in SCCM, and user collections, this is where all of my users are going to show up and they are going to get discovered in AD, and then whenever the discovery process is going to run in SCCM, it's going to push them here. All right, so next what I'm going to do is I will create a Windows 10 virtual device. This would be Windows 10 Enterprise, and then I'm going to join that machine to domain, and once it's joined to domain, SCCM is going to discover it and it will show here, but it will show, but it's still not going to have the SCCM client. As you could see right here, none of these two devices have the SCCM client too. So next step, I'm going to show you by creating those machines, and we will do just one more setup here and then push the SCCM client to it. I'll be back in about 2 seconds. All right, so here I'm going to log into my ESXi lab, which I have showed in the very first video. Just gonna put the user ID is root and the password is my awesome password. Once I am here, I have only 2 virtual machines for now, so I'm just going to create a new machine. Right click, select virtual machines, right click, create a VM, create a new virtual machine. Next. Oh, before we go forward, I'm sorry, I'm just gonna move back here. I just want to let you guys know that I have already downloaded the Windows 10 Enterprise ISO and already have moved it into my storage, which is storage 1, the one that I created in one of my previous videos, and it's right here, right here. So this is what I'm going to mount to this new VM that I'm about to create, and then I will do the installation of Windows 10 on it. Create a VM, create a new virtual machine, click next. Name I have said is going to be TW10-1. OS family is Windows. Guest operating system version is going to be Windows 10, 64-bit. You could do 32-bit too, but I'm just gonna go with the 64-bit. Click next. This is going to ask you where do you want to store it, and the way I have set up my lab, I had showed in the past videos too. All of my workstations, I'm going to put them into my workstations data store. Next. I'm going to leave everything as a default. Actually, I'm just gonna give it a little bit extra memory here, which would be, I'm gonna give it 8 gig, and I am going to reserve it. Oh, I'm sorry. The storage, I'm gonna give it 40 gig, and here I'm going to set up as a thin provision because I don't want it to take over on all the 40 gigs right away. It would have the ability to do it if it's needed. And the last, I need to select this CD DVD drive. Click on the drop down menu and then do data store ISO file. This is where it's asking me where is your ISO, and I have the ISO in a storage 1 Microsoft ISOs, and I'm gonna select Windows 10 Business. Select. Next. Go through the summary of all of the options that you selected. Click Finish. And here we have our one virtual machine created. Now we need to install the Windows 10 on it. Just simply power on. Click on it. Boot by pressing that. So I am not going to bore you by installing Windows 10. It's a very simple, straightforward method. If you guys don't know how to do that, you could leave in the comments, and if I would have more than 5 comments on this, I will create a separate video on how to install Windows 10 on ESXi virtual machine. I'm gonna pause it and I will be back once the installation of this machine is completed. Alright, so Windows 10 is installed. I'm just gonna do the very first quick configuration, the one that already default, nothing special. It's prompting me for selecting the region. I'm gonna select United States, yes. My keyboard is a US. You could select yours as you desire. Click yes. I'm not going to add any secondary keyboard. I'm going to skip it. So here is basically asking you to log in. How you're going to do it? I'm going to do domain join instead. Here I'm just going to set up as admin. Click next. That's the admin password. So just keep that in mind. You would be able to log in using the domain admin user or the regular users too, domain users. But this is actually the local admin credentials. My awesome password. I hate this. This was Tiger. I used to have a German Shepherd. That was my favorite ever. Dog. This was Bibi. And I'm just gonna put here. Next. I'm not going to set up anything to do with Cortana. Just simply decline it. Same here. We'll click now. This is just the lab, so just select everything default accept. And down the road, I will show you how to customize these things too. Whenever I would get into how to do the imaging, basically how to customize the image and then deploy it through SCCM. So if you have not subscribed to my channel, you might want to do that if you are interested in learning about imaging. And I'm also going to show you down the road about some application packaging too. And by the way, if you are a good imager in United States, especially in Fort Worth, Texas, you could make over $100,000 easily, as long as you are a good imager. And if you are an SCCM admin, I have seen some folks making all the way starting from 80,000 to 120,000. I in fact have some members in my team that makes more than that. So this is a good stuff and cool stuff to learn from a money making point of view too. And if you ever have any kind of questions, please leave the comments and I'll be more than happy to help you. All right, so the very first thing I'm gonna do is I would go ahead and join this machine to domain. There are so many different ways you could do it. This is the way I know. To me, it's faster. I'm sure there are so many different ways people can do it. So yeah, just simply launch the File Explorer. Right click on this computer. Click on the properties. And right here, change settings. It's a computer name and domain. So I am going to change the computer name and also get this machine to join to the domain too. So computer name I have set is going to be twin10-1, and the domain name that I have is bb.local. Okay, it's going to ask you for the credential for your domain admin, or an account that has the access to join the machines to the domain. So in the lab I have showed you it was just the admin account, domain admin account. So it's Esxi_admin, my awesome password. Click OK. Welcome to Bibi.local domain. The computer is successfully joined. It will prompt you to reboot. Just simply reboot this machine. You could go for that, but I'm just gonna do restart later just for a second, because I want to enable remote desktop too. I just don't like working in this little tiny screen here. So to do that, you could go back again into File Explorer, Properties, Remote Settings right here. And this is where you could set up the remote desktop, which is also called RDP. Click Allow Remote Connections to this computer. Select User, click Add, and I am going to, you could add even groups too, but I'm going to just quickly add this Esxi_admin. That's the one that I'm going to use. It will prompt you for credentials again, because you are trying to use the user account for the domain. Click OK right there. Click OK. OK. Apply. OK. Close everything, and I'm going to restart it. Now I would be able to remotely log into this machine so that I don't have to work in this tiny console. And to see if the machine is there while this one is rebooting, you could go into Domain Controller, DC01. I'm gonna close this. You could just click on Start, Server Manager, Tools, Active Directory Users and Computers, and look here under Computers. This is right here. That's the machine that it just joined the domain. I'm gonna minimize this, and I will open up a new session for RDP. Let's bring it here, and here I'm going to do is Win10-1, and you could enter with the domain. So the easy way to do is just put the domain name slash the user ID, Esxi_admin, my awesome password. Click OK. Yes. You could click don't ask me again if you like. I leave it open. The first time when you log in, it tries to set up the profile for the first user, whoever is logging in the very first time onto this machine. So that's why it takes just a little bit longer than whenever I'm gonna come back and try to re-log in using this user ID. So here we have Windows 10 joined to the domain. Now the only part that is left on this machine is to push the SCCM client. There are a couple of things that I need to do on the SCCM server before I could push anything to any of the new future machines. So I'm just gonna minimize this and I will go back into SCCM server, which is SCCM01. And one thing that you want to do is kind of check back again. No errors, which we checked it earlier. Everything was good. You need to set up one account, the one that would be used push the SCCM client or any kind of SCCM installations. To do that, click on Administration, and then select Sites, and right up top over here where it says Client Installation Settings, click on it, Client Push Installation, select that, and this one is read through. Is very simple. Install the configuration manager client software on the following computers: servers, workstations, even on the SCCM server. This is for really good, especially if you are, let's say, working for a group that is only responsible for, let's say, servers. Then you don't want to push your client into workstations, so uncheck those. If you are just try to your group's job is only to manage workstations, so just that's where you would select, so that by mistake the SCCM client does not get installed onto other machines. I'm gonna leave this one as a check. Click on this tab. It's called Accounts. This is where this is the account that would be used to install the SCCM client. I repeat, if you don't set this one, no matter how good all of the settings are correct, you would not be able to install SCCM client on any machines. In fact, you would probably not be able to do anything on those machines. So to do that, simply click on this little wheel. It's a new account. You could to Bibi / the account that I'm going to use is this right here, Esxi_admin. My awesome password, one more time, and click OK. Just add it now. Apply. You could have done verify over there too, but this does verify. If it has issues, you see the error here. Don't worry about this for this lab purpose. Down the road, I would explain to you what this is and what you could do. So don't complicate the things for now. This is all the setting that we need to do for now. So click OK. Next, what we're gonna do is I'm just going to force the inventory discovery. Actually, I'm not going to do it because if you could see, SCCM has already discovered that machine. But let's say if it was not here, then all you gotta do is you could just go back to admin, hierarchy configuration, discovery method, and right click and run forest discovery now, and it should pull that within 30 to 45 seconds, depending on what kind of network that you have set up, speed of the machines, and all of those other things. So now we have this. So what I'm gonna do is you could just go to that machine. This would automatically push it through, but I want to move this process a little faster. So I'm just gonna try to push it a little faster and try to start this installation manually. So you could select the machine name, assets and compliance, devices, and then here whichever machine that you are trying to install the SCCM client on. Right click it, install client. Next, leave everything default for now. The only part that you need to do is just check install the client software from specific site. We have only one site. If you have followed through all of those previous videos, you should have only one on yours too. So just leave as is. Click next. It's trying to verify, give you a little summary what it will be doing. Don't worry about it, and click next. So now if you go and log into that machine, which is right here, and if you run the task manager and look for the processes that it's running by clicking details, and I'm going to sort them out. you are going to see, it's called the CCM setup.exe. This is what it started the installation now. You could watch this one. This is one indicator that everything is kind of so far is working here, but there might be some errors while it is trying to install too. So you could just monitor the logs. You could just go open the file explorer, go to this PC, and the log folder is Windows CCM is actually CCM setup. CCM are for configuration manager logs during the other operation, but for setup is right here, CCM setup.exe. CCM setup. Sorry. Go into that folder and then click on logs. And this is the log. If for whatever reason, let's say that all the conditions or the prerequisites were not met for the client, chances are you're not going to see any of other these logs. It's just going to be only one log. You could open that log right there, and it will give you whatever the error, whatever the problem that this one is having. But since all of the things are set up correctly here, is trying to also install all of the other prerequisites that this machine needs. It can take, depending on the speed of the machines, maybe 5 minutes or so. So I am going to pause this and I will return once the CCM exact.exe is not running anymore. That would be the indication that the SCCM client has been installed. And then obviously we'll go, I'll show you how to verify those by looking into the log, or by going into add and remove programs, and we can just verify over there too. So I'm just gonna pause it and I'll be back shortly. All right, so the installation is completed. The main the main MSI that is for the client. I mean, all of this other stuff is kind of a prerequisite that it needs to install before it can actually install the SCCM client. So the log, you could just verify it in client.msl log. This would have some sort of status. You could just go kind of look through it, and this is right here. This is a configuration manager client installation operation completed successfully. And then also, if you look at the exit code for this CCM setup, right towards the bottom, it should have 0. 0 is successful too. If there was any kind of errors or something happen, you would see that error code right here. And then based on that error code, then you could do the troubleshooting. This is one way to verify, and the other way is that if everything is kind of working, you could also do software type software center. This is one way right here. You could see, you can just launch it. And this would bring you the SCCM catalog. Nothing here since we are not pushing anything, so you're not going to see anything for now. I'm going to close this one. There's another way to verify it too, is by going to control panel. Just start typing control and you're going to see control panel. Select that and then come here and just select basically small icons, and you would see configuration manager right here. You need to know this too, just in case if you are, like, let's say in a sport and somebody asks you, hey, could you just force the SCCM client policy manually? This is one way to do it. You could just launch it, go click on the configuration manager, and simply go into the actions and start selecting one by one and click run now. Now this is basically forcing SCCM client policy so that it communicates to the SCCM server. You could go through all, I mean, these are very self-explanatory, whichever policy you want to run, but the faster way is to just run them all quickly so that one of them is going to check in and then it gets all of that. So Whatever needs to happen on this machine, I think we are done. I'm just gonna go back to now SCCM server and see if the client registered over there. So let's go to SCCM 01. Click on user. I'll just refresh it. Right here, you can see, and is the client activity is active. So this concludes the installation of SCCM. Next video is going to be really short. I'm sorry, this kind of excuse me, it got a little longer too. The next one is going to be about pushing some kind of a software. I'm thinking maybe Notepad++, or some kind of a small utility. I will try to find something that has an MSI. So we would create a package or maybe even an application, and then we will push that application or package to test Win10-1. And as we grow further, then I'm going to start showing you how to push larger applications like Microsoft Office, Office 365, much more things, and then also start creating the image too. So thank you so much for staying with me. If you have any kind of questions, feel free to put it into the comments. I would appreciate a like if you can, and if you could even share it, I would really appreciate that. That's the only way you could encourage me, and I'm gonna keep going. Thank you so much. Wherever you are, have a wonderful rest of the day or the evening. Peace.